Shalom, and welcome to Bible Stories as Blueprints of the Soul, your Biblical Hebrew podcast. Shalom, and welcome to our Biblical Hebrew podcast. Today I would like to speak to you about the story of going out of Egypt. Every year in spring, many people around the world reading the story of going out of Egypt. The story of going out of Egypt, named in Hebrew, is Haggadah. Haggadah, the verb that established the noun Haggadah, is lehagid, meaning to tell. And today I would like to speak to you about Enigmatic Haggadah. During the course of generations, or along the history line, people used to read the Haggadah from little notebooks or little books. Before the invention of the print machine, people used to write those notebooks by hand. They used to take white paper and with a pencil draw lines on it, and on the lines they used to write the letters in ink, and usually at the side, at the margin of the writing from left to right, or up the letters, or at the bottom line, an artist, good artist, used to add illustrations. And so we have, during the last, let's say, 10 centuries, maybe more, a collection of Haggadot, those little books that tells the story of going out of Egypt. And a special enigmatic Haggadah was written in Europe in the 14th century. Its name is the Haggadah of Bird Head. And why? Because the illustrator of this Haggadah illustrated the human figures as having bird's head. In one of the pages of the Haggadah, which is again dated to the 14th century in the region of South Germany, which today is around Nuremberg, Würzburg, and Bavaria, we find a special scene of baking the matzah. Matzah is a special bread that we eat on Passover. What is so special about this bread? Usually a regular bread needs yeast to get puffed, and then we put it in the oven, and the heat, the warm air is blown through the yeast and make bread puffed. But when we go out of Egypt, and not just historical event, we have to act very fast. And the Bible tells us a story that the people of Israel had to prepare some kind of little food that will nourish them while they're going out of Egypt. And they could not wait for the yeast to puff. So they had a little flour and put into it a bit of water. And according to the customs of Israel, once the drop of water touches the flour, from this moment, within 18 minutes, again, 18 minutes, the dough has to be put in the oven to be baked. Every dough that reached the oven after 18 minutes could not be eaten anymore. Why 18? 18 in Hebrew means chai, alive. The word chai is written in two letters, chet and yod. The volume of the letter chet is 8, the volume of the letter yod is 10, and together they make 18. So people who wish to live have to eat the bread which has been made within the realm of 18 minutes, no more. Because everybody who passes the 18 minutes just miss the opportunity. There's a slim door of 18 minutes in which the bread has to be baked. So in one of those scenes of the Haggadah, we see a team of people that making the dough, making holes in the dough, and putting it in the oven. But all of those people have a bird head. And people have been wondering during the last centuries, what is the reason that the illustrator chose to show the team which making the matzo as wearing bird head instead of human head? And one of the assumptions was that in the commandments there is a request not to make an image of God, so the illustrator chose to show a bird head. This is one of the assumptions, because usually when people go to art galleries in Jerusalem or in Tzefat, in the North Galilee, they find artists that follow this advice, and they don't paint people's faces or body, but they write little letters, and when you zoom out from the writing, you get a sense of an image of a person or of a landscape. This is one of the assumptions that the researchers have regarding this enigmatic Haggadah. But we have another assumption, and I would like to share this assumption with you. But before we go to this assumption, let's look into the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 10, verse 20. And I start in the second part of the verse. I shall read the second part in Hebrew and translate it to mild English. Ki of hashamayim yolich et hakol, because the bird of the sky or the heavens, yolich et hakol, will deliver the sound, uva'al knafayim, and the owner of wings, yagid devar, will tell a word or will say something. Why do we look into this verse in general? Because the second part of the verse says, and the owners of wings will say the word or the thing. The word davar, a word or a thing, is written in 3 letters, Daled, Bet, Resh. Now, those 3 letters, if they get a different pronunciation, they can be read as dever. Dever. Dever is a word which the Bible mentions as the 5th plague. The 5th plague. So, if we go back to the biblical verse, and we can read it in the other way, meaning not just and the owner of wings will say a word or a thing, but the owner of wings will say dever, meaning the 5th plague that Egyptian got in Egypt. In Hebrew, dever. Now let's go back to Europe, to the time that this specific Haggadah was illustrated. Europe in the 14th century, also Asia, were under a plague that named in history later as Black Death. So there is a chance, it's not absolute truth, that the owner of wings, in this case the illustrator, might knew this verse, and there is a chance that the bird heads of humans in the Haggadah are trying to tell us that they were acting under the time of the Black Plague in Europe. But if we look interestingly to this word dever or davar, all those three letters has something in common. Daled, which is 4, has even number, also bet, 2 is a dual number, and resh is 200. So all of those letters represent an even number, like a dual number. And if we add 1 to this sum of the word dever, which is the Black Death plague, or davar, which means milah, we get the sum of 207, which in Hebrew has the volume of the word or, light and unity. So this was our little conversation about the Enigmatic Haggadah from the 14th century in South Germany, and a verse from Ecclesiastes that tries to tell us the truth. And each one of us who listen to this podcast can have its own conclusion, or will maybe inquire to learn more and to ask more. This is just an offering. Wishing you a beautiful day and wonderful week. Thank you for listening to Bible Stories as Blueprints of the Soul. We hope that you enjoyed this episode. If you have any questions, comments, or would like to hear more about a certain topic, just write us an email to hebrew@learnoutlive.com. We are always happy to hear from you. For more episodes, videos, and articles like this, please visit our website at hebrew.learnoutlive.com. We also would like to invite you to join our live classes. Just search for Online College of Biblical Hebrew on Facebook and start learning now with students from all over the world. Kol Tuv and Shalom.